Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar on festival song entry. We have all of the attendees in listen mode only. It's a fairly large group. There are 22 on at the moment, so it's very difficult to handle questions live, but you can type in questions in the control box on your screen. So please, as we go here, as you have a question, just type it in and we will get them answered for you. I'm Robin Godfrey, the Executive Director of GALA Choruses, and with me this afternoon is Jane Ramsire Miller, the Artistic Director for GALA Choruses. Good afternoon,
Hello, everybody.
Jane.
Hello.
We have a couple of poll questions that we'd like to run real quickly first, just to make sure we're clear on the types of people that we have with us. So if you could just respond to the poll question. What is your role in the chorus? Are you seeing that question, Jane?
I am not seeing that question.
Well, that's not good. That should do it. Okay, hang on, folks. I think I got it here.
There we go.
And it looks like we've got about half artistic directors, 20% festival liaisons, 25% board members, and 25% other. Okay, we're going to move along because I can't get that to work right. Okay, our goals for the webinar this afternoon are to provide information for you regarding entering your song information for festival into the Integra system. It's the same system that you've been using to register your chorus and your delegates.
And Robin, we're not seeing your screen for some reason.
All right.
Thanks for being our guinea pigs on this first one, everybody. There we go.
All right. So the information about the songs that you're going to perform will show up in the Festival mobile phone app, and it's going to be there based on the way you enter it into the Integra system. So one of the reasons you want to be careful about getting your song information in there is that's what the public's going to be seeing, or that's what all the delegates are going to be seeing about your performance. That's going to be the source of the information that we will pull into any printed programs, and it is also where we are going to be monitoring copyright compliance, and we'll talk about that as we work through the webinar. So the mobile app is available, will be available for Android users in the Google Play Store and for iOS users in the Apple App Store. And there are users of other flavors of smartphone can also have access, and we'll provide more information about that when we're ready to launch the smartphone app. But for the moment, what's important is that you understand that what you enter into Integra is what's going to appear in the app. So making sure that your chorus name is spelled right, song titles, etc. The complete concert schedule is going to be visible to all delegates. Your chorus will see their own rehearsal and tech times, call times, performance information for your concert set, and any other event that your chorus is participating in. And each concert block will include the list of songs that have been entered into the app, and you'll have the ability to track and save any that you choose to mark as favorites. So our copyright compliance position, we've sent everyone an email earlier in March. Fundamentally, copyright compliance is about honoring the people who create music for us and are trying to make a living from their music so that they can continue writing the songs that we love to sing. We want to be certain that Festival 2016 is 100% copyright compliant. We want to do that to protect the performing choruses and GALA as the producer of the festival. We've been advised that Festival 2016 is going to be closely scrutinized by the music publishers for compliance with every aspect of copyright law. So let's just briefly talk about what copyright issues are involved with the performances at festival. It's each performing chorus's responsibility to have legally purchased copyrighted music, to have obtained the permission of the copyright holder for custom arrangements of any music being performed, to have secured grand rights for any song involving a dramatic performance of a work, defined as being accompanied by dialogue, pantomime, dance, stage action, or visual representation of the work from which the music is taken, and paying mechanical rights if your chorus distributes for free or sells a recording of your festival concert. GALA assumes responsibility for paying the performance rights organizations, BMI, ASCAP, CSAC, for the live music performed at festival. Compliance with everything other than paying the live performance royalties is dependent upon the actions of the individual performing choruses. As you enter your song list for the festival performance into the Integra Planner, there will be questions to answer regarding the source of the sheet music, whether the song has been arranged, and whether the presentation of the song includes the type of dramatic elements that could cause grand rights to be required. GALA has been advised that the individual choruses will be sued for copyright infringement, and GALA will be sued for contributory or vicarious infringement should there be any copyright violations by the performing choruses at festival. Outside counsel has advised GALA that the only way to protect the organization is to require proof of compliance. The following slides explain how copyright compliance will be addressed as you enter your song list into Integra and how proof of compliance will be provided. Jane, let me turn the narrative over to you as we begin to work our way through what you're going to see in Integra as you begin to go in and input your performance details and song lists.
So for those of you that were at Festival 2012, the system looks pretty similar. We've made some improvements in the past 4 years and then added some specific things. Like in the past, you were asked to list composer, librettist, that kind of thing for each of your songs. And now you will actually be attaching some documentation that verifies the information that you're entering. So when you go into your screen, you're actually, I'll walk you through a live version, but you're going to click on whatever concert block you're entering music for. For most of you, it's a yellow block. It's a regular afternoon concert block. And the largest blue arrow is pointing to the program button. That's how you're going to enter your song list. The two arrows below describe program information, which is basically any kind of information that you want people to be able to read publicly. So maybe it's a tagline of your chorus, maybe it's something special that's happening on stage, but that will be listed as part of the Integra app for the public information. And then underneath is technical information. So if you want something particularly specific in the technical realm, that's where you would put it there. So this is, for example, something that connects to the entire set, because a little bit later you'll be able to ask for some technical things for each song.
Jane, it might be a good idea, just since we do have a number of new artistic directors, to make sure everyone's clear on just what technical options you have during a concert block at festival.
That is a great thing. Okay, so you basically have a piano, you have a number of microphones, music stands, and any instruments that you bring onto stage. There will be a stage diagram that you're going to get. Actually, it will be up in the next couple days, where you will be able to describe where you want each of these things set. The default for the piano is stage right. So if you want the piano moved, just know that it's going to come out of your stage time. The reason is not that, you know, we want to be nasty about it, but we need to keep these sets moving in 30-minute blocks. And so if someone takes 5 minutes to move a piano, it needs to come out of their own time. So know that going forward. Okay, let's move to the next one, Robin. So once you've clicked on that program button, it's going to take you to this page, and there's a green button that says Add Song, and that's what you click to add, actually not just songs, but anything that needs to be in your concert order. So in this case, you can see I've already added 2 songs, When Thunder Comes and I Am Flying. So Robin, let's go in, and the next screen shows what happens when you click that little green button to add a new one. So the first thing you're going to add is the title of the piece, and whether it is a song or something else. And the something else would typically be maybe you have a spoken intro to a song, maybe you're introducing a guest conductor. And we want you to add that kind of information for 2 reasons if it's not a song. One of them is your stage manager is going to want to know what's happening next, because they will do a better job of calling and running sound for you. And the other is just to try to track and mark how long your set is actually going to be. So here you can see for this song, you'll add the amount of time it takes and who's performing. That will automatically be you unless you change it, your chorus. The composer, the lyricist, the arranger, overall composition. For example, let's say you're doing a 5-movement piece, and this is the first movement. This is the place where you might describe the overall composition, so that the people looking at their apps know that this is coming from a larger piece. And again, other program info. In this case, When Thunder Comes is a piece that my chorus just commissioned this spring. So I wanted everybody to know that, and I put in one voice commission. Okay, the next screen you're going to get, or the next little line you're going to get for each song, is a drop-down, and I'm going to give you all 4 types of the drop-down. So the first option under type that you can choose is a published score. And in this case, just like we've done for probably a decade, we ask you to put in the publisher and the catalog number, the copyright contact, and then excuse me, the number of scores that you have purchased for your chorus. So here's the deal. The next thing is, this is new, this yellow bar. We actually need you to attach verification that you actually bought these published scores. And there are a number of ways that you can do that. The easiest way is if you can dig out the receipt from when you purchased those. It should include the purchase date, the title of the song, and the number of scores, because we need to know that you purchased enough for everybody standing on stage. Just attach the receipt and put in the number here on number of scores purchased, and you're good to go. If, and I've gotten many emails already from lots of you that have music libraries, and perhaps you purchased these scores 6, 7, 10 years ago. We do understand that. So here are 2 options that we're giving to you. One is you can attach a color photograph of these published scores. You can see an example here to the right. So what we're looking for is, in terms of verification, the reason we want it in color is so we can tell really clearly that these are not Xerox scores. And you can see that these scores are actually the same piece of music. And if I blow this picture up, I could actually count, if I needed to, the number of scores that were there. So they're all kind of leafed out, like playing cards. If for some reason you don't want to do that, we will also make it possible for you to bring your scores to festival and do a check-in before your tech rehearsal. Although, because that's a very time-consuming process, we would need choirs choosing that route to come quite a bit early for your tech rehearsal. It's not listed here, but if you are a really large chorus, we are going to check in with you and probably send someone to your rehearsal to check scores. So we will be in touch with you directly about that.
Just make sure we're clear here. If an issue should arise about whether or not the chorus has legal sheet music, and you were required to defend yourself, you would need to produce the sheet music. GALA's perspective on this is, as the producer of the festival, what documentation do we need to see to be reasonably comfortable that you have appropriately purchased the sheet music? So a receipt, we'll check it in if that's what we need to do. If you're a small enough group that you can get us a colored photograph where we can count copies, we will accept that. But understand, if it at some point in time you are called upon to prove, you will have to be producing sufficient copies to support that you've got them for all of your performers.
Okay, so then there's a second type of music that you may be bringing to festival. So lots and lots of our choruses commission new music. Or sometimes we work with composers who are individuals and haven't actually published their score. That's great. We're happy for you to bring that kind of music to festival. In that case, you would choose unpublished manuscript. In this case, I put in, for my example, this piece that we commissioned, the composer's name. I have not yet entered her name, address, and email, but it will be in there. And a little checkbox saying that, yes, we have permission from the copyright holder. In this case, I'm going to attach my commissioning contract that I have with her. In some cases, you may not have a commissioning contract, which is fine, but you do need a letter, a signed and dated letter from the copyright holder saying that you have permission to make copies of that and perform it at festival. And the next screen gives you a template of that. And we'll have some of these materials available for you after the call, so you can download them as well. So this is the kind of template that we have. So your name, a date really clearly. The copyright holder says, this is the song. Yes, indeed, I am the composer and or the copyright holder, and it's okay for this chorus to perform this song at GALA. To be really clear, not just anybody can give you permission to perform a song. They need to be actually the copyright holder of the song. So some composers assign those rights to somebody else. Just make sure you have verified that you've got the right person. They sign complete contact information, and again, that gets attached in this Integra file. If applicable, this won't happen very often for a manuscript, but it's in here just in case. If you are adding movement, pantomime, choreography, stage action, that kind of thing to a piece of music, you should also, just to cover your bases, make sure you have your grand rights covered as well in a letter like this. And then the third kind of music that we might have is a custom arrangement. So you can see under type, that's what you're picking. Again, we need complete copyright contact information. And in this case, we need a description of the kind of permission that you have from that copyright holder. And these tips are really important. Remember that the permission to arrange can only be granted by the copyright holder. So, and I'm just going to tell you a little story. So my own ensemble came to me a year ago and said they had permission from this arranger to do a particular piece, and I thought that was strange because it was a pop song. And I called the arranger and I said, do you really have permission to sell this arrangement? And he said, well, no, I just do it. So once he was pushed a little bit, he admitted that he didn't really have permission to, a license to sell his arrangement. So make sure you know who you're talking to. And really the safest thing is to go right to the publisher that first published that piece and get your license from them. There are some cases, I have also commissioned pieces from, for example, a local Minnesota songwriter, and that's totally cool. They own the copyright. You can get a letter from them just securing permission to arrange their song. If you, so you can go to the music publisher for that. You can also request assistance from Tresona, and we have their address a little bit later in this slideshow. So Tresona is an organization that can help you with your licensing needs, and they basically have a system where you log in online, request a song, pay for it online, and they provide the licensing for you. And again, in that case, we're going to give you some examples here, but you would just attach that as well.
Jane, we have a question. Any suggestions for securing the compliance letter from unresponsive composers?
Oh, that's really hard. You know, in this day and age, sometimes I try every option I have. So Facebook sometimes, their website, calling them up. If you really cannot secure their permission, then you would not be able to perform that song at festival. You know, and actually that's a good point. So, for example, if this is a piece that you got permission for years ago and now need to go back and get that kind of paperwork, just make sure going forward that you're always getting the paperwork at the front end. I know I also years ago just got an email from somebody saying, sure, it's fine, which, you know, we did a lot of 10 years ago, but make sure you're kind of taking care of that now moving forward.
Does an SSA song transposed to TTB constitute a custom arrangement?
My understanding is that if you are reading from that score and you're reading the exact same parts, you are fine. If you're actually rearranging the music, you should get a license to arrange.
If a director or chorus member arranges a public domain folk song, do we need to submit a letter, or is it assumed we have permission since the arranger is a member?
Yeah, you know, we're going to talk about public domain music in a little bit, but I think in that case, absolutely, you should go through the same process, because if for some reason that person bit the dust and wasn't around, we still want verification that you went through the right process. Robin, let's go to the next screen and show them some of the examples here.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a license that was obtained through Tresona, and I made a note at the top. Here's your tip for the afternoon. Make sure that your license documentation contains a valid date. So at the bottom in yellow, you can see that this particular group applied for this arrangement, but it expired in November of 2015. So I happen to know they have gone back and they have now asked for the license again so that they can bring the song to festival.
Just a quick note, I may have inadvertently deleted a question that we didn't answer, so if you have an open question that we haven't answered, I apologize, but please type it back in again.
And Robin, let's go to the next page. Okay, so some licenses don't have an expiration date, especially if you got a license like this one is even just a year old. And actually, I guess this is 2 years old. That's okay. So that means your license didn't expire. But in this case, it contains a limited number of scores that may be printed. So just read through your license. Again, make sure that you are compliant with what your license is allowing for and submit that with your information.
A question about what about documenting rights for use of text in a commissioned work?
That should be in your commissioning contract typically. That's a good point, Robin. We haven't talked about whether we're going to ask for that kind of documentation here.
Is this only a question that comes up in the context of a commissioned work that we're concerned about the rights of the lyricist?
Yep, yep. I think we'll need to chat about that, but if you see a line show up here saying attach verification for the lyricist, then you'll need to add it. So I'm going to mark that one down. Good question. And the next screen. So I just want to say a little bit more about custom arrangements because it's one of the areas that choruses sometimes screw up, and it's complicated. So to protect yourself and to protect GALA, we're going to be really careful to look for those. And if you can't produce a valid license, you won't be allowed to perform that song in the festival concert. We will just take it out of Integra and you won't be able to go on stage for that one. Note that permission to arrange doesn't give you permission to record a song. I think most of you know that. It also does not give you permission to share that arrangement or score with any other chorus. No exceptions. Your permission and license is only for you. You can also not borrow an arrangement from another chorus. That license permission, if you want to get that same license, you need to go through the publisher or through Tresona and purchase a license for your own chorus. Okay, so then the fourth kind of song that you may be performing at festival could be in the public domain. And there is sort of a, let's see, a guideline for public domain, that public domain music music becomes into the public domain after the composer has been dead for 70 years. That is actually not true because a composer can assign their rights to someone else before they die. There can be an organization that actually owns those rights. So you can't just go by the death of a composer in order to assume that your piece is in the public domain. So this is a website that we are recommending. It's a searchable database, and you can look through for a song that you think might be in the public domain and download scores from this site. There are some exceptions under the tips. Some scores listed in this library are not considered public domain in the United States. So this is actually an international database, and it's really clear. If it's not public domain in the US, it will say non-PD US, or in some cases non-PD Canada. So they list it by country. It's also important to know, and this goes back to a question that someone asked here about someone arranging a song in the public domain. So if I arrange a song in the public domain for my chorus, in that case I own the arrangement. And so if someone wants to perform it, even though the original song was in the public domain, they would need to talk to me to get permission as the arranger. So in that case, back to the chorus, I think it would be good to actually submit two kinds of verification. One is that the original song is in the public domain, and the second that you have permission from the arranger to perform it.
I have a question, Jane. We have a piece using the text of Edgar Allan Poe's A Dream and arranged by our accompanist. My understanding is that we'll need a letter from the accompanist stating that we have his permission to use his arrangement and a verification that the poem is in the public domain.
Yes. And is it, I'm assuming they mean composition rather than arrangement, but yes.
Okay. I think we still need to cover what it is that is to be submitted if it's
on the next screen, yeah.
Okay.
So we tried to think of a way to verify these public domain pieces. There we go. So actually it works pretty well with a screenshot. So this is Schubert's Mass in G, which is clearly in the public domain as long as you're using a piece that's in the public domain and not something that's published, right? So again, think about the difference between a publisher that goes out and you buy it from your local music store, can't copy that one. But if it's a piece on this website that is clearly listed as public domain, as this one is, you can download and print it and perform it. So here, I just did a screenshot, and I did a screenshot of the name of the piece, and then really clearly, let's say in this case, I'm going to download the Agnus Dei, and it's listed under copyright at the bottom of the screen that this piece is in the public domain.
Okay, we have a question. If a piece is taught to the chorus and there is no sheet music available, taught from a legal vinyl recording, and no arranging is involved, how is this entered in Integra?
Oh my gosh. You know, I guess in that case, there's a place, there is a line to just describe how you know you have permission. I think do that, and if there are any questions, then we would call you up and ask for more information.
Okay.
You all are very creative. Grand rights. Robin, you want to take this one?
Sure.
Since it's your favorite.
There is a significant lack of clarity around the issue of grand rights. I think most of us have been operating from an ASCAP definition that described grand rights as the use of music in a theatrical environment that includes dramatic elements such as costuming, choreography, or the development of a story. And we have interpreted that as being when you have imitated those dramatic elements as they existed in the show or opera from which the song was originally taken. There are broader definitions than that beginning to circulate as to when additional rights might be required. Our strong suggestion is that if you are in doubt about whether a particular element you are planning requires anything beyond what are referred to as small rights, they're the rights that are granted by ASCAP and BMI and CSAC to perform a piece of music, please either contact the copyright holder directly or work through Tresona to get clarification as to whether some other type of right is required. If you're just standing on the risers and singing the song, there's no issue. If you are adding other theatrical elements to your performance of that piece of music, the safest thing to do is ask and make sure that there are no other rights required. The question that you will see as you enter the song in Integra is, are you adding any dramatic elements to the song? If you indicate that you are, then we're asking that you attach either the grand rights license, if that's what was required, or if you went to Tresona and said, hey, we're going to do X, Y, and Z while we perform this song, and the answer that you get back is the copyright holder isn't requiring any further type of license, then please attach that response. And I think that's about as clear as we can be about an area that doesn't have much clarity at the moment. We have a question, does adding a dramatic element to a pop song, since it doesn't come from a larger theatrical piece, make it require grand rights? I think that the most honest answer we can give you at the moment is our understanding of grand rights would say no, but understand that this is an area that is changing and that there certainly are copyright holders who feel that any dramatic element that you are adding to their song requires their permission. So our suggestion is that you ask the copyright holder. If you're adding choreography, you're adding costuming, ask the question. If it doesn't require any further rights, that's great. But you are much safer, and hence we are much safer if you ask the question.
So Ruth is asking if you add ASL to a song, a published pop song. I don't know the answer to that, Ruth, and I think what we'll do is put together a list of answered questions, and I have written that down to find it out. My guess is that since we interpret lots of our pieces and you're just interpreting the words, it should be fine. But I'll make sure that's added to a list of questions and answers that we'll put on the website. And the same thing about copyrighted lyrics. Because we haven't dealt with that in the past, it isn't in this system, but I think we'll go back and make sure that that is added so that we are definitely verifying lyrics as well for commissioned pieces. Okay, moving forward with the next parts of Integra. That was the most complicated piece. This other info, instrumentation, and another section for info about stage, these are really for your stage manager. So the more detail you can put in this, they will be able to make your set function smoothly. Remember, there are just under 200 performances in 4.5 days. So your stage manager and tech people are tired and they're going through a lot of information in a day. So just give them any help you can. Let them know if you need space for props, if you're doing choreography or movement off the risers. Be really clear, especially about instrumentation, because it can take a while to get the mics working right. So for example, under instrumentation and microphones, we've actually adapted this since the screen, this screen was shot. But under instruments, it now says list the instrument, and then we're going to ask you to list what kind of miking or not that you want for that instrument. So do you want it a cappella? Do you want it mic'd with a regular microphone, or do you want a DI input? All that kind of specificity is going to make it much faster for the stage people to set up your system. Same thing for solos. Let them know which you want amplified and which you don't. You will have a little bit of time to test that in the hall, but not much. You have a 15-minute tech. When I am doing my tech, I always bring somebody, somebody not singing from my chorus to sit in the hall and help listen for balance, because there isn't time as an artistic director to run into the hall and listen and get back on stage. It doesn't work in 15 minutes. So think through really carefully how you're doing that with instruments and balance. And then just anything else about the stage.
This might be a good time to just mention again, for those who are first-time festival attendees, what
Do we lose you, Robin?
what solo microphone equipment is available to you?
Okay. Except that I don't have that right in front of me, but we have microphones on stands. We have some headsets that can be used. Those are all listed. I believe there is a document on the website that lists how many mics are available for each stage. There is a piano provided. There's a drum kit provided on a rolling cart. Again, getting that in and out is going to come out of your own set time. If you want any other instruments, you bring them in yourselves. And on the festival website, there is a place that you can go into Integra and fill out a request to hire instrumentalists from Denver, which is really great. We have a guy that's setting that up for you, for us. So fill that out sooner than later, because the best players will go fast.
I have a question. Who should we contact to consult for advice about instrument amplification?
That would be Ann Drake, who is our production manager for festival, and her email is production, what is her email? Production manager at galachoruses.org. And we can go to the next one, Robin. Okay. Whew. So that is that's the end of each of these places where you input information. My recommendation is that you enter your song list first. So just go through, enter all that contact information, copyright information. Once you have your list, once you have it in the order you want it, then go back save everything, go back and start uploading your documentation. At the bottom of each song list, or each song, sorry, there's this green area and you'll just click Upload File, and that's where you'll put your verification. There's also a note in Integra that says add your stage drawing, your stage diagram to the very first song. So that's what you're seeing here. My first song, let's say, is When Thunder Comes. So I attached my stage diagram and then I attached my commission contract. And we are trying to use some protocols so that we can sort through all this documentation. So, and that will be written as well, but your naming protocol is the name of the song, in this case When Thunder Comes, and then a dash and commission contract or public domain or receipt, photograph, whatever it turns out to be. You can always double check that you have attached the right verification by hitting the View button, and there's also a place to just delete and some other options as well.
The question, is the bass amp on stage already?
Good question. The amp is on stage, yes. And I'm going to add that to the list of frequently asked questions. So I will make a list of instruments on stage. I'm sorry, let me clarify that. It is available, it is not on stage already. So it sort of lives where the drum kit lives, and if you need it, it will come out on the stage. And we can...
Okay, and just a reminder before we leave this screen that you have to save before you can add files. So you're working through your song list as Jane described. If you already had something and you started trying to attach it, you would find the system wasn't letting you do that until you had first gone through and saved. So put your song list in, save, and then go back and attach whatever you need to attach.
And you can go in and out of this, you know, you've got a month to enter this stuff. So you can start the process and then attach things gradually as you go here. So on the next screen, okay, so now you can see my song list. And I have entered my first song, and then after the first song, I'm going to speak for, actually I won't speak for this long, but now it says 24 seconds, and I put that in there. I also put, you can see like the fifth one down, we have another choir that's going to come sing with us on stage, and I need a little time for them to get on stage, so I've actually put that in the mix here. For the heck of it, I put in time to move the piano, even though I'm not going to move the piano, and to set up some drums. So I put in 2 minutes there. Unfortunately, as I was setting this up, my timing comes out to about 26 minutes. In Integra, the total is not working right here, so just ignore that. I'm encouraging you to keep your set, including movement and speaking, at about 25 minutes. An additional minute is going to be your introductory video, so there you're up to 26, and you would be amazed at how much time applause takes. People love you. So make sure you're not programming more than 25 minutes. Again, you can read the rest of this here. Moving the piano comes out of your own time, setting up instruments, and we will ask you to leave the stage if you go over your 30 minutes.
The question, is parody covered in the case of changing a few lyrics in an approved song?
Robin, we should probably think about how to answer that in a systematic way and put it in writing. Do you think?
Okay.
Because that is another complicated one. So again, we'll add that to the frequently asked questions.
Do you want, okay, we're going to get to this in a minute, so we'll hold that question. So once you have everything entered and uploaded, GALA staff will be going through to review all the song list submissions. You're going to see there's a section at the end that looks like what you see at the top of the screen, shows the approval status and any approval notes. When the information provided has been accepted, we'll change the approval status to approved. If there is a question that needs to be resolved before it can be approved, we'll convey that question in the approval notes box. And again, just to be absolutely clear, if proof of compliance with all copyright requirements cannot be obtained, you cannot perform that song at festival. Now, one of the other things that we've been talking with folks about is we are going to using a 1-minute video to introduce choruses, starting with this festival. Your chorus introduction can only contain music or images that are in the public domain unless you have obtained permission for any copyrighted images or music and provided evidence of that permission when you submit your video. Permission can be obtained directly from the copyright holder or seek assistance from Tresona. If you want to use music on your video, some things that you might want to consider: use a composition that you have commissioned and can presumably get the rights to then use that music in your video from the composer. Jane, I'm not Creative Commons. Is that something you want to speak to?
Yeah, there are actually quite a number of websites that offer free license for music, particularly for videos and film. In many cases, they do require you to credit the use of them, but they're really cool because you can go in and search a database by mood and by the type of music you want. It's mostly instrumental. You can select 30 seconds, 45 seconds, 1 minute, and just read really carefully the kinds of requirements they have. Mostly they want you to just credit the composer, but Creative Commons is a way that they're making music available. Right, especially for video, so it's a good resource.
Okay, and then we just want to make sure that people understand that the type of license required when you are using music in a video is different than permission to perform the song or even permission to record the song. So you may wish to use something in your introductory video that you have previously recorded and had mechanical rights for. That does not give you permission to use it in a video. These videos are going to be shown on screens in the halls as you are entering the stage. We are also planning to have them available by link from the smartphone app. They're going to be living in YouTube. So you need to be very clear when you're asking for permission just what it is that's going to be happening with the music, and make sure that you're getting the rights that you need. And we've provided a template here that is similar to the one we showed you earlier. Just if you're contacting a copyright holder directly, we've provided some language that you may wish to consider to get the permission to include a performance or recording of that song in your introductory video, and making it clear that that video is going to be available on YouTube as well as being projected on a screen in the concert hall. Jane, I'll pass back to you in terms of tips for programming a GALA set.
Actually, let's do a quick walk through the real time. Does that work, Robin?
Sure.
Okay. So you're going to change it to me, right?
Okay. Done.
Okay, so I just wanted to, you've seen all these screens now, and I just wanted to sort of walk you through what it looks like in real time. So this is, once you click on a concert block, this is what it's going to look like. And again, you can see from my program information, I entered the title, I gave my set a title, and I put in some of the people that are going to be performing with us on stage because I thought that might be kind of fun for people that are thinking about attending a set. Under technical information, I just made it really clear that we want the piano center stage. And now I'm going to go in and I'm going to click Program. Oh, and I've been out too long. That's no good. Sorry, folks. Okay. So here is my concert set that I entered. And I'm going to go into my first song. And you can see I'm listing the title, the duration. Here's where I added my composer, my lyrist, and where I will attach permission from each of them to do this song. Under copyright, this is an unpublished manuscript. I have the composer, and really important here under permission, make sure you're always checking this box. Our course has permission from the copyright holder. Important that that is clicked as you go through. This piece doesn't have any grand rights. I made some of this stuff up. Paper lanterns, we're not actually going to do paper lanterns, but that might come up on another song. I've listed my trumpet, but I don't want my trumpet mic'd, so I haven't said anything about microphones. Under other info, I've listed we're going to process to the stage during the drumming even though we're not. And at the bottom, you can see, because this is my first song, I've attached my stage diagram and I've attached my contract. So one of the nice new features of Integra is that was my first song and I can go up and click next and it takes me to the next thing, which is my spoken welcome. And click next again and we go to I Am Flying, my next piece. So if I want to go back to the regular list, I just click List. And here's my list again. And you see these buttons to the left. You can now in Integra drag your concert order here and move the songs around. So just another feature. Okay, I think that's the basics, Robin.
All right.
I'm going to send it back to you.
We have a question.
Anyway.
Will there be an extension to the due date for videos given new information? Yeah, if you can get them in, our communications specialist would love to have them as soon as he can. If you can get them in by no later than April 15th, that would be terrific.
And Robin, we need your screen now.
Okay. Another question, if we have copyright permissions from Tresona, do you have to go back to have someone from Tresona physically sign it? I wouldn't think so. I mean, if there's something on that piece of paper that identifies it as having come from Tresona, I would assume that that's acceptable.
That's exactly right. If you get one from Alfred or Hal Leonard or one of the other publishers, you are required to sign it, and they sign it, and we would want to see that signature. Same deal if it's a commission piece, we want to see a signature that the contract is all locked up.
We have a question, how late can you change concert information in Integra? It kind of depends on what you're impacting, but if you are literally changing a song, I believe what we've said is any changes you make after May 15th will not be reflected accurately in the program. And I think we're going to have to create a deadline right about then for us to have time to review the copyright documentation. So you're not going to be able to add or change songs after right around May 15th, or we're not going to have an opportunity to get the review done that we need to do.
So Allison is wondering, could I show an example of the stage diagram submission? My screen isn't showing anymore, but that's fine. I can describe it to you. So the diagrams show the exact dimensions of the stage, and they have the risers drawn on them. And it will say, like, 16 feet from the tip of the risers to the end of the stage. And then there's a key, so you're asked to use like an M to draw on that diagram where you want each mic stand, and then P if you want a podium. And I don't know what the key is off the top of my head, but where you want your music stand, where you want the piano situated. I think it'll be pretty clear once you have them. Again, just put as much detail in as you can.
So if a song's copyright does not come through, can I replace it with something else for the set? Yes, we need to get that process moving and get it done as quickly as we can. But yes, if there's a song you're not able to get copyright clearance on and it has to be removed from the set, yes, you can replace it.
But you need to do it by May 15.
We will try to be as accommodating as we possibly can. We're not trying to ruin your plans for your set at festival. We're just trying to make sure that we do this in a way that is completely compliant with copyright laws.
So on the on the GALA festival website, there's a document called Tips for Programming a GALA Set, and this is something that Sue Coffey wrote, and I worked on some of it, and it's some just some ideas. If you haven't programmed a set before, be sure to download it. It describes the kinds of things to program, how to plan, how to think about instrumental balance, and that kind of thing. So it's a great document. Make sure you check it out.
So we just wanted to bring up on the screen some of the deadlines as we kind of get into the final few months here before festival. Regular delegate registration closed, whatever that was, the middle of this week. We are now in the late registration period. If you do still need to get delegates registered, check the marketplace. Your festival liaison should know how to function in the marketplace on Integra. There may be some early or regular price registrations available there. So feel free to take advantage of that as an alternative to paying the late registration price. Video introductions, again, the date we were looking for was April 2nd. I understand that the copyright issues may cause that to slip. If you can shoot for having them in no later than the middle of April. Integra is open or will be shortly open for song list, copyright, and production info. We need rehearsal space and instrumentalist requests are available in Integra now. We need those in by the end of April, your song list and copyright and production info in by the end of April. Consigned merchandise and banner purchase forms are available in Integra now as well. We need those back by the middle of May.
So Robin, Eric's asking if you've got a song and you're just not sure the composer's going to come through in time in terms of getting a license, could you put a backup piece in there?
Yeah.
I suppose you could. I mean, we don't want to be having to, look through 20 pieces. So make that a small number of pieces that you're putting in as backup. And if you do something like that, then I would say be really clear, like put it in parentheses and just in the notes say really clearly, this is the piece we're going to do because we can't get this composer to, respond or whatever. This is our second choice piece, something like that.
Okay. Whoop, a couple of more questions coming in here. Yes, this entire slide presentation will be available on the GALA website. It's also been recorded. We will put the recording up as well. If you have any questions, please contact either Jane or I. And obviously for these last 90 days before festival are incredibly busy. So be patient with us. We will get back to you just as quickly as we can. And the earlier, if a red light is going off in your brain saying this song is going to be a problem, let's deal with it sooner rather than later so we have, so we're not having emergencies a week before festival. We really appreciate everybody's efforts to make sure that we are taking good care of the people who provide music for us. If a question comes up for you that we didn't get a chance to answer today, please by all means contact us. And thank you very much for being with us today. If there's someone else in your chorus who you think should hear this presentation, we're doing it again Tuesday evening at 8 Eastern, Wednesday evening at 8 Eastern, and Thursday, I think at 1 Eastern. You can't imagine how excited Jane and I are about doing this 3 more times.
And Robin, I'm going to add that I talked about putting together a document of answers to some of these questions that came up today. I will put that on the festival programming page. So look for that there. We've also created a help document, which may or may not have gotten emailed out to you, I can't remember. But the help document, and that's a help document on how to do all your verifications for this copyright stuff, that will also be on the programming page.
By the way, my hair's a lot grayer than it looks in this photo now.
Yeah, you're looking pretty good.
I just thought I'd share that with you. All right, guys. See you in Denver.
See you then.